a 2-week series called Ruthlessly Eliminate Hurry. And the subtitle is How to Stay Emotionally Healthy and Spiritually Alive in a Chaotic World. And for many years, I didn't realize that this word defined a lot of Christmases for me. And if anybody has ever had to travel to multiple households on Christmas Day, visit family, then you know what I'm talking about. But that was me for a long time. My brother and I, we would go to one family member's house to another, and by the time we got to the end of the day, it was just like, and then we're looking at Christmas trees, and it's like, wow, that just went by so fast. And I don't know if there's anybody in this room today that maybe you feel that way. And maybe Christmas just felt like a blur to you, and it just went by so fast, and you felt like you were in such a hurry. And maybe today you're in a hurry. You're in a hurry for your in-laws to go home. You're like, come on, we're getting them on a plane tomorrow, right? You laugh because it's true. But, so for years, I'm like, wow, I've been living in a constant state of hurry around the holidays. And guess what? As I've gotten older, it's not just around the holidays. I take this with me throughout the entire year. And hurry begins to characterize and define my entire life. And there are 3 thought leaders, and I'm gonna mention their names. You can write them down if you want. Besides Jesus and his words that we're gonna get into in just one moment, there's a guy by the name of Dallas Willard who has passed away, but he was a philosophy teacher at USC and a Christian author, and he's written a lot on this topic. There's another guy who's younger than him. His name is John Ortberg, who's a pastor and an author who's written a lot on this topic. And then more recently, a guy named John Mark Comer. He has written on this topic. And so you might hear me reference some of their content today. But John Ortberg, he shares about a time when he was feeling run down as a pastor. And he was going from meeting to meeting, feeling empty, like there was a void in his life. He wasn't present with his family and his kids and his wife. And he called his mentor, Dallas Willard, and he said, Dallas, I need some help, man. You're my mentor. Dallas Willard was brilliant. He said, I'm just feeling lost. I'm feeling empty. I feel like my soul is exhausted. And this is what Dallas Willard said. He said, you need to ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And John Ortberg said, okay, I got that. Next. And Dallas said, there is no next. He said, this is the single worst enemy of your spiritual life. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I read that and I went, hurry? Nah. There's way worse. There's way more detrimental out there than hurry. But then I started to reflect on my own life in the words of Jesus, and I just want to show all of us today how detrimental the spirit of hurry is to our spiritual and emotional life. And our spiritual life is more important than any other aspect of our life because it's from our spiritual life that everything else flows from. It's the most important. And so we gotta recognize that the number one killer of our spiritual life is hurry. And there's a way that Jesus calls us to that is directly opposed to this. And we find his words in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. These are the words of Jesus. He says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. He says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And for many years, I would read this scripture in this passage and I would say, what is a yoke? And it's not what you had for breakfast. He says, take my yoke upon you. Well, what does that mean? What is a yoke? So contextually speaking, during this time, a yoke would be most commonly a wooden beam that would be placed on the back of an animal. And a yoke is how a horse or cattle or an ox would bear the responsibility of a plow or a carriage, whatever it was that they were pulling behind them. So a yoke is something that would go on your back and that helped you to bear your responsibilities. And so it also was used in a different context. People would say of kings that king ruled with an iron yoke. And that means that king would place harsh responsibilities upon their people. And so Jesus says, come to me. He says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And so when you come to Jesus, you're learning his way of life. You're placing his yoke upon you. And that's what happens in our faith journey. And all of us come into this room today with some type of yoke on us. And oftentimes it's a yoke that feels too heavy for me to carry. And I think Jesus is calling us to take off the yoke that we've so often placed upon ourselves. And he's saying, come, learn from me. I'm gentle and humble in heart. Take my yoke upon you, and you'll find rest for your soul. Did you know sociologists about 30, 40 years ago, they said the number one problem that we would face in 2020 is that we would have too much time on our hands. That's laughable. You know what they said? They said due to our technological advances, this was over 40 years ago, that we would be working 20 hours a week on average in 2020. Crazy. You're like, yeah, tell my boss that. They said we would be working on average 27 weeks per year. There's 52 weeks in a year. You know how many we get off at best? 2. So the sociologists were wrong, all right? Fire those guys, because that doesn't make any sense. But we see that technology has not given us too much time on our hands, right? So we're guilty of saying this, oh, if I just had another 8 hours in the workday. You wanna know what you do? You would fill up those 8 hours and you'd be asking for 8 more. More time is not the problem. It's not. It's what we do with our time that's the problem. And so, I even geek out on this stuff. You guys know back in the day when they would use whale blubber for candles? Yes, they actually used whale blubber for candles. Weird, I know. They would use that for candles, and it was scarce and special, so when the sun went down, work was done. And you went home and you were with your family, and then that guy went and invented electricity. And now our work weeks went from 20 hours to 40 hours to some 60 hours. Why? Because now we need a competitive advantage. So now we're doing more work than we ever have before. And our souls are weighed down with this burden and these responsibilities, and we're tired. We're tired. And we see so often in our life, you guys, that we as a culture do with such urgency and such energy and urgency, mindless things that don't matter. We do. We as a culture and a society, we put all of our energy and all of our effort and our mind into things that don't matter. And so when it comes time to do the things that do matter, we can't show up fully for them. We're tired. We're weighed down. And I'm just an example from my own life. When I was in college, if it wasn't for me playing football, I probably would be a professional gamer right now. So, and God ended up getting a hold of my heart. But I played a lot of Call of Duty and Madden, just a ton. And so any normal college student, this is what they do. They spend all of their energy and time doing their homework, studying all semester long. So when it comes time to take a test, you show up and you're fully present, you're prepared, right? No. You do mindless things and you put all your energy into them and all of your effort into them, and what happens when it comes time to take a test? You're not prepared and you get exposed. And then what happens? You say, oh, you fail the test, and you say, I'm gonna switch majors anyways. So then the major's the problem, not you, right? You're not the problem. Like, I didn't want to major in that anyways. I was gonna say, never mind. Can't do that from the stage. Never mind, I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna say, then you majored in something else but we're not gonna do that, because then if I said that major, you'd be like, oh, what? There's a problem with that major? No, there's not a problem with the physical education major. It's fine. It's good. I thought about I'm stopping while I'm ahead. So you guys, back on track. You all have ADD, let's go, focus up. We do with such energy and effort things that are mindless. So when it comes time to do the things that really matter, we do them in a hurried state. And even as I was processing this came to my mind. Even things that we love, things that we enjoy doing, if we don't prepare for them, they become things that we despise. Don't miss this. So this happens in many different ways. For me, if I'm speaking too much on a regular basis and I don't get an opportunity to prepare for something that I enjoy doing, something that I like doing, well, if I'm not prepared to do it, you know what happens? I don't want to preach. I don't want to teach. I start to despise the things that I actually enjoy doing. Okay, so for a lot of us, we're busy at work, right? We come home and it's time to be with our family. What happens? We're so busy doing other things. Not that work doesn't matter, right? But there's things that matter more. We come home through the door and we start to despise even just being home. We can be honest, it's church. And you feel heavy and weighed down and you're tired and you need rest. But we spent so much time doing other mindless things and showing up for those that when it comes time to do the things that really do matter, we spent all of our energy and effort doing the things that didn't matter. So now we can't even show up and be fully present for the things that do matter. You want me to say that again? So we have to be prepared. We can't be in a constant state of hurry. We should write this down. Hurry is a state of frantic effort that one falls into in response to inadequacy, fear, and guilt. Hurry is a state that we all fall into because we feel inadequate, afraid, and guilty. And I use studying for a test as a very surface level, shallow example, right? There's many things in our life that we show up to that we didn't prepare for and we feel inadequate. And we are frantic. And it's because we're in a hurry. It's because we're in a hurry. The opposite of hurry, the ability to do calmly and effectively with strength and joy the things that really matter. The things that really matter. You see, Jesus calls us to a whole different way. He calls us to a way where the yoke is easy and the burden is light and we find rest for our souls. He doesn't call us into mindless activity. He doesn't call us to pour all of our energy, all of our resources into things that just make us feel more weighed down. He doesn't. I was on my way here this morning. And I pull up to the stoplight in the car next to me. This girl has her phone out as she's driving, like she's FaceTiming someone. And then I see a breakfast sandwich come up from her right hand. And I was just like, this is where we're at right now. This is terrifying. It's crazy. We're trying to do as much as we can in every moment that we can. And hurry isn't just moving quickly. You guys know that? Hurry is trying to be emotionally and spiritually in more places than you were created to be at once. Jesus didn't come into the world running his way through the Judean desert. He didn't come and do as much ministry as he possibly could with as much productivity as he possibly could in as little time as possible. He didn't. He didn't. He came and he slowed down. He spent time with people. He was intentional. He was present. He was never in a frantic state, feeling inadequate. He was fully there. And so often I'm like, I think this whole Christianity thing in The Secret of Life is just doing more, right? I just gotta do more, acquire more, be more, accomplish more. And I just need more effort, and it doesn't require more effort. It's quite the opposite. It requires, you know what? It requires more intention. Where's your effort going? Sometimes I think I just need to be stronger. God, just make me stronger so I can bear this burden that's on my back, so I can carry this yoke. It doesn't require more of your own strength, only that you give up going at it in your own. We all need to learn what it feels like to surrender the yoke that we've been carrying and placing upon us, the yoke that Jesus offers. I was reading a story about this explorer. And he was going to some remote part of Africa, and he wanted to chart maps. And he wanted to do this in as little time as possible. And so this guy, he hired porters, which are they were local people that would carry his bags for him, all of his tools, all of the food. And they had been traveling day after day after day. And then finally, the next day, he wakes up and he says, all right, let's go. Let's gather the supplies, let's go. And they said, we're not going. He said, what are you talking about? He said, I paid you guys to be here. This is your job. And they said, sir, you're crazy. Our soul needs time to catch up with our body. That's good. They said, we've been moving so fast, we need to rest. Not just physical rest, we need soul rest. And I wonder how many of us today, God is saying, let your soul catch up with your body. You can't keep trying to be all things to all people. It's okay. Rest. The way of Jesus is countercultural. It's counterintuition. Did you know that deep inside me, my intuition says, do more in order to be more, in order to be accepted and valued? If you will just be busy with work and with jobs and with projects, you'll be successful. That's what my intuition says. That's what culture says. Did you know that about 20 years ago, leisure was a sign of success? People would go and golf on their lunch breaks, and that was a sign of success. Some of you are like, I still do that. Well, you must be successful. Leisure, having time, was the true mark of success. And like Josh said, he must have read my notes, but busy is now the mark of success. And did you know busy is not a mark of success? Busy is just another way for us to distract ourselves and to hurry ourselves up. Busy is, you know what busy is? Busy is a lack of intention and it's laziness. That's what busy is. So next time you ask somebody how they're doing and they say, oh, I'm good, I'm just busy. You say, no, you're actually just lazy and you lack intention in your life. Hey, see you never again. That's what they'll say to you. The truth hurts. It's for real, it's true, it's crazy. Busy is not a mark of success. And you wanna know why it's important to recognize when we're in a state of hurry? Because love, joy, and peace are all incompatible with hurry. Did you know you can't love someone and be loved in a hurry? You can't experience peace in a hurry. You can't experience true joy in a hurry. And so often hurry is the soil of our lives. And we're trying to grow things like love, joy, and peace, but we're in hurry. And we wonder why we're not experiencing the exact things that we were created to experience. We can't love our spouse well in a hurry. We can't get to know our kids and be known by our kids in a hurry. It's impossible. So the first thing that we have recognized is that the problem is hurry. And if that's not already evident enough, I have a list of symptoms from those who suffer with hurry sickness. And the first one is irritability. You get mad, frustrated, or just annoyed at people way too easily. People have to tiptoe around you. Oh, no, I'm good. Nobody has to tiptoe around me. Guess what? You don't get to decide, right? Somebody else does. Honey, you don't have to tiptoe around. Oh, no, never. The next one is hypersensitivity. A minor comment or critique can throw off your whole day, can change your mood. These are signs that we're hurry sick. The next one is restlessness. When you try to rest, you can't relax. We don't even know how. When we watch TV, what's in our hand? Our phone, and we're scrolling. We don't even know how to relax. I have people in my life, when they're driving, they have the audacity to pick their phone up, ask me a question while they're driving, and then send a text to somebody else. What? I just sit there quietly. I don't even respond. That's crazy. But we don't know how to rest. And the next one, lack of care for our bodies. When we struggle with low energy levels or excessive weight gain, it's because we're in a hurry. Emotional numbness. We don't have the emotional capacity to feel anybody else's pain. Why? Because I barely have enough time to feel my own. And the last one, escapist behaviors. What are the things that we run to distract us? These are all signs that we struggle and suffer from hurry sickness. I probably have 10,000 hours logged on my Xbox. I mean, from my college days, not recently. I'm exposed now. I got married, I got a wife. She sees all. I tell her, I say, honey, it's ministry. If I get good at these games, these kids are gonna think I'm cool. So I'm doing ministry. And honestly, I have a mic too. I can talk to everybody. It's ministry. Stupid. So dumb. So we know what the problem is, right? We're all in a hurry. We are. And now let's move towards the solution. I was thinking about this. I want to look to Jesus, and I want all of us to put our theology caps on, all right? How did God model for us life? And as I'm thinking about God, and I'm like, how have we experienced God? How was God experienced in time? And I was even, man, I'm gonna get even more weird. Dallas Willard, philosopher, stay with me. If God created time, he's not subject to it, right? He's technically outside of it because he created it. So in order for us to experience God, he had to enter into it. How so? It's the person of Jesus. And when God came in the person of Jesus, he didn't come like the speed of sound, right? You know how he came? At the speed of humanity. He came from the womb. And he grew just like any one of us. And God slowed down long enough for us to experience him. And this is what's crazy to me. God came at the speed of humanity, and here we are trying to speed up. And he's saying, slow down. You need rest. And number one, if you don't slow down, you're gonna miss me. A lot of people did when Jesus came. They missed him. And we were able to get to know God in the flesh because, and this is, please write this down, Jesus embraced his limitations. This is so countercultural, some people are gonna think this is blasphemy. What? Jesus embraced his limitations. Think about it. Him being fully God and fully man, right? He had to embrace the limitations that were placed upon him as a human being. He did walk on water, right? He did. We read about it in the Bible. But everywhere he went, he wasn't like hovering, you know? I've been watching a lot of Star Wars. He wasn't doing that everywhere he went. What was he doing? Walking. He very rarely even ran. What was he doing? He was moving at the speed of humanity. When he was talking to people, he didn't have AirPods in. Don't be an AirPod dad or mom. Oh my gosh. And even the young people, you got your kids AirPods for Christmas, didn't you? You did, parents. I'm talking to these young kids and they won't take their AirPods out. I'm just like, what? Come on, just take them out. Okay, ADD again, sorry. Jesus, in order for us to experience God, Jesus embraced his limitations. He walked with us. He grew in all wisdom and stature, it says in Luke. He embraced his limitations. And that's how we know who he is. And so going into 2020, let's not be in a hurry to just create our goal list, right? Let's embrace our limitations. Let's recognize that we are constantly living in a state of hurry, but we need to embrace our limitations. Parents, you can't be Superman and Superwoman. You can't crush it in business, be an amazing parent, go into the gym and have a model body, right? And be Betty Crocker and baking all the treats. You can't do it all. It's impossible. You can't. We have to embrace our limitations. And even in Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 through 8, it says, Jesus, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in the appearance as a man, he humbled himself. He embraced his limitations. so that we could get to know him. And not only so that we could get to know him, so that we could be known by him. The older I get, and actually this last Christmas, right, I didn't have to go to multiple households. I was just at one. It was amazing. And the older I get, I realize that deep down inside all of us, we won't admit it, we won't, but we all long to be known. We all long to be loved. We all want to know that we're valued. And those things can't happen in a hurry. And this Christmas, I was able to slow down and to just recognize how beautiful life is. And I've realized that it's not until we embrace our limitations that we won't start to experience the things that really matter most in life. So as we're going into this new year, I want all of us to be thinking about our limitations. I want all of us to feel the weight of our humanity, right? God didn't come to show us how to be more productive. You want to know why God came? To show us how to be more human. He came to place a yoke on us that is easy and that is light. He came to bring us rest for our souls. And he came, most importantly, so that he could be known by us and so that we could be known by him. And so I don't know where you're at today. I don't know if you came here in a hurry, but I pray that you wouldn't leave in a hurry. And maybe you are done right now. Maybe like you seriously are like, you joked about my in-laws? No, I'm really ready. I'm ready for an empty house. And maybe you're here today and you know that you've been living in a constant state of hurry and you don't feel known, you feel distant from God. And I just want to pray for you right now as we sing this next song. Let's pray. God, we come before you right now and we just give you thanks. We give you thanks for our family. We give you thanks for Christmas. We give you thanks for the ultimate message, God, and that's that you moved at a speed that we could recognize you at. That you long to be known by us. It's your heart's desire. And as we enter into a new year, God, may we recognize that that is what matters most, is to know you and to be known by you. Where we've been in a hurry, we've been showing up feeling inadequate, feeling frantic, feeling afraid, feeling like we're gonna get exposed, God, I pray that you would bring peace to our soul. I pray that you would show us how to take your yoke upon us and move with strength and presence and power. May love and joy and peace grow in our lives as we come closer to you. So I thank you for limiting yourself, God, for humbling yourself and giving us the ultimate gift, and that is knowing you. So God, I pray that you would meet us right now in this place, that you'd bring peace to our lives, bring rest to our souls, and we pray this in your mighty name, Jesus. Amen.